Good morning, everyone. In the exposition of today, we will have the theme of electricity as a factor in climate change. Our group is made up of Sergio Razo, Sebastián Durán, Santiago Álvarez, and Karen Barrios. To illustrate a bit about the structure of the exposition, we will start with the research questions and the variables that to help to understand it. Then the timeline with the important events, then the mapping of relevant actors, and finally the conflict tree for an explanation of causes, effects, and central idea. To begin, we talk about of the research question, which is what is the impact of electricity on climate change. In this case, we want to see if electricity is a resource that affects or contributes to the climate change phenomenon through a small historical review and the way the world has evolved. For this, we must know the variables. In that case, we have the independent one that talks about fossil fuels as a mean of extraction for combustion energy. Also, the dependent variables that are global warming and greenhouse gases. Two very important factors to make visible if electricity has had a great impact on climate change. For these reasons, we will know a little about the electricity industry located in its history, the impact of some companies, and the harmful ones that can be used in a bad way.
Timeline. In 1879, Thomas Edison obtained the patent of the incandescent bulb from carbon filaments. 1882, the first commercial power plant called Appletown Bulby Edison powered 250 watts incandescent lamps. In that same year, Nikola Tesla developed a practical system that generates and transmits alternative energy. In 1951, in Ohio, the USA, the first experimental nuclear power plant was created where electricity was created for the first time from a reactor. In 1973, the oil crisis happened because OPEC decided not to export more oil to the countries that had supported Israel during the Yom Kippur War. The year 1918 was the year where the temperature achieved elevating from 0.06 degrees Celsius in 1970 to 0.28 degrees in 1918. In 1986, the Chernobyl incident occurred where a nuclear power plant location in Ukraine was exploded causing irreparable human and environmental damage. In the year 2000, the Millennium Summit in celebrate where more than 189 countries signed a treaty which posed multiple objects. On the other hand, in 2016, the Paris Agreement was signed where it was sought to reform the global response to the threat of climate change by keeping the increase in world temperature in this century well below 2 degrees Celsius. The year 2018 was the warmest year on the record since 1880 due to increase in carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. In the year 21, the final judgment is 100 seconds for mating for the second consecutive year.
Gasoline users do not take into account that refined to obtain gasoline actually processes toxic waste, apart from the high risks involved in transporting a material source of oil to refining station. So gasoline involves a much broader problem than the simple fact of combustion and emission of gas into the air. So it should be changed by energy policy and fossil fuels. Electric power has alternative, Nature is full of electricity and is a fundamental part of many biological processes that are very important in ecosystem. It is not possible to scatter or store electricity directly from natural source can be generated from human hands. For this reason, electricity is said to be a secondary energy. The energies that are used for its production and are obtained are resources on the planet Earth. For example, coal, natural gas and oil. Together they form the group of fossil fuels. Of the front, renewable source soon with wind power, wave power or solar energy. Multinational companies is in many cases the activity of a multinational of contamination of water, soil and air. The alteration or loss of contamination of water, the alteration or loss of flora and fauna, or serious landscape alteration. Extractive and energy companies are the ones that cause the most damage to the environment. The ones that cause the most damage to the environment at the many cases, their exploration, exploitations, transports, etc. cause serious environment imbalance, sometimes environment imbalance, sometimes irreversible. Countries and trade wars. The China government aims to support the of the United States in the next decade with the complete of the new Silk Road, which will seek to link this country with front and rail line, ports, airports, and roads that will make the target commercial network in the world. In some cases, be by seeing permanent pollution.
Conflict 3 Effects. The global energy model is characterized by a constant growth in energy consumption, mainly fossil fuels. Electricity has become a solution against climate change, provided that its origin comes from environmentally friendly sources, mainly renewable energy. The electricity sector plays a key role in facing the global challenge of climate change. It will have to undertake significant investment to reduce its intensity of emissions. Central problem. Climate change is already irreversible and is accelerating with growing global greenhouse gas emissions. In this sense, the electricity sector is leading the fight against the elimination of carbon dioxide emissions. Causes. The risk of climate change depend on cumulative greenhouse gas emissions, which in turn depend on annual emissions for decades to come. Hydroelectric generation is the energy source that may be most directly affected by climate change, as it is highly sensitive to the amount, timing, and geographic patterns of precipitation and temperature. Climate change is expected to bring less precipitation and more extreme droughts to certain parts of the world, causing electricity shortages in countries highly dependent on hydroelectricity. Climate change will strongly impact the cost of hydroelectric generation, the amount of energy generated, and the energy security of the system. All of the above forces us to rethink many things to face this necessary and unavoidable process of adapting our electrical system to climate change.